And then when I got sick, that changed everything, and my perspective changed. And I saw things in a way that really highlighted, the importance of, friendship and family and life and love and all those things. When I was finally able to, find a safe space in which to express myself, that's when I fully, realized, the power of storytelling and the power of this craft.
This episode of Untold Stories is sponsored by Bing X. You'll hear more about them later on in this episode.
All right, everyone, you're listening to like a very special super segment of I wish it was like a super special segment of Ask Me to Dance, but a special segment of Untold Stories where usually twice a week we talk about cryptocurrencies, automated liquidity management solutions, Bitcoin, and a bunch of other stuff like that. But today, we're actually not going to be talking about any of that. We're going to be talking about actually how crypto did bring us all together. But I'm very excited because we have today some of the stars and the writer and director of the newest feature film, Ask Me to Dance, that is in theaters nationwide in over 30 something cities, over 40 theaters around the country in the US from October 7th till I think the 14th, but make sure you guys go the first weekend because that's the biggest one. And we got Tom Malloy, director and producer and actor, star of the show, my amazing wife, Courtney Warner, a star, and David Lawrence, my good friend and star of the film Ask Me to Dance. And also Tom, Courtney, and David have written and starred in another feature film called Trauma Therapy Psychosis that we all did in Scotland, that I was doing like 4 or 5 episodes of this show from the set. So if you guys want to yell at some folks about why I wasn't talking about crypto, then here you go. These are the people. Here you go. Welcome.
We're ruining the podcast, I feel. But yeah, at least trying to steer it in a different direction and throw off your audience. But yeah, glad we could help.
How do you guys, I mean, this has been, since we've all gotten to know each other in the last year and a half, how does it feel? How does it feel to be here with this theatrical release? And Courtney, we'll start with you.
It's very exciting. It's just very honored to actually be part of something so special from beginning to the process, from the beginning till now. And I'm just so excited to be part of it and met some really, really great people in the process. And I can't wait to see how people respond to it.
David, where are you right now? Are you shooting another film?
Yeah, I'm in New Mexico shooting a film about Navy SEALs, which is kind of a dream of mine because when I was a kid, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL and I couldn't do it because I ended up getting cancer. And so I couldn't go join the military. And, acting came to me in a roundabout way. And I thought to myself, what a great opportunity. I could do all the things that I always wanted to do, or at least give a voice to those, occupations that I always wish I could have explored. So it's pretty fun.
That's actually a great segue. I'd love to know how you guys all got into acting and doing what you do. And maybe lead that into Tom. You can start lead that into how Ask Me to Dance actually got made, because this is not your first dance film.
Well, there's a lot of questions there. I did want to clarify that it opens in October 7th, I believe, in 38 cities or 37 cities, and then the 2 others, Sarasota, Florida, and Rochester, New York, are on the 14th. But it doesn't mean that it's only going to be playing from the 7th to the 14th. It's like if the theaters go well and people enjoy the movie, which they seem to be enjoying so far, it could play for a while. So it's just essential that we have people go to the opening weekend. But the reviews have been through the roof on this movie. To kind of make specific to your question, Charlie, I mean, I got into it. I've wanted to be an actor since I was a kid, and specifically to ballroom dancing. I got into that, like in about 98. And I always wanted to make a movie with this dance called West Coast Swing in it. And I did. I wrote and produced a film called Love and Dancing. And when that film really wasn't exactly what I wanted to be, because I didn't direct it, it wasn't my vision, I decided to kind of go back to my roots in comedy, which I've been performing in front of crowds since I was 11 years old, and put some great dancing in a really laugh out loud, funny dating comedy. And we just did about 20 interviews in a row And everybody that saw the movie is just saying how much it's a throwback to the old comedies. It made them laugh out loud. Someone made them cry laughing. And I think that that's a really good sign.
Actually, we're going to play the trailer right now for you guys to hear what Ask Me to Dance is about. And then I want to hear from David and Courtney. So let's take a pause.
Well, I'm divorced. I used to teach ballroom dancing. I don't anymore, but I still love to go out dancing.
I have borderline personality disorder. I'm also bipolar.
You like to dance?
No.
How long you been dancing?
For my whole life.
It shows.
Thank you. You don't think I'm too old for you?
Nope. You're just my type. So we gonna close this tonight, or?
Awesome, Jack. We gotta do it again sometime.
We'll see. I gotta get going.
Hi. I was hoping to meet the guy that danced earlier. He was amazing.
You literally just missed him.
The year almost ends.
Yeah, I know. It went so fast.
You're going to meet the love of your life.
I am?
Yes, by midnight on New Year's Eve.
Is that so?
Did you have fun last night?
I met this old woman who told me that I was going to meet the love of my life before the end of the year. 4 days left after tonight, the exact day of your wedding, and the last night of the year.
What do you think? Your soulmate just gonna walk by the office? Did some old lady say this?
Yes.
It's so random.
Well, I went through a divorce, and only now am I ready to start dating again.
I am finally putting you on a dating app.
No.
Hey, dude, you must be Jake.
Jack.
Joe?
You want to dance?
Trying to go this way.
You want to go somewhere and see who really needs?
I've been dying to see this movie. Some sex after this, right?
I want to meet the love of my life.
Want to dance?
And this week has assured me that that is never going to happen.
My dating life has been a little precarious.
Maybe I should keep this one. Tie him up, gag his mouth.
I'm gonna get another drink.
I mean, I did stab my last boyfriend.
I give up. Maybe I just want somebody to dance with. No complications, no commitments.
You need to meet my friend Jill. She's going through the same thing.
She'll be at the wedding.
Yeah, she's the maid of honor.
Is it me, Amy?
Yes, it's you. You gotta settle.
I am not going to settle.
Hey, listen, I have a girl here that wants to meet you.
But
hang on, I'm gonna put her on. That's great.
Hello? He hung up.
What?
Yeah, it's the story of my life.
Look, Jack, say the girl that saw you dance that night is your soulmate.
Mind if I sit here?
That would mean you're destined to bump into her again.
Jack, we need to talk right now.
You want to bring a knife to a gunfight?
I'm gonna go up on the bar. I'm gonna run and jump into your arms.
You sure that's a good idea?
You didn't catch me.
Wow, what'd you all think?
I mean, I think it came across fun as an audio trailer. That was kind of cool.
Courtney, what brought you to acting?
I moved to New York when I was 22 years old as a dancer. I was signed with a dance agency for about a year and a half. And then I decided to cross into acting after that and took a lot of different courses and so forth and just studied from a lot of different people and literally just had a love for it ever since I moved to New York. And I love it so much because it's literally cathartic for me. It's a type of therapy. You just turn into that person that, you know, I feel like there's a piece of you in each character that you play. And I just want to change the world and send different messages out and just try to inspire people. And that's just like my dream. So really, really happy to be doing what I love to do.
And being in the crypto world, watching you follow your dream and meeting some amazing people like David and Tom, that's one of the reasons why kind of everyone who's been around us has fallen in love with the industry and what we do. And you know, there's good and bad of this world. There's a lot of positivity, and thankfully we're working with some amazing people. But there's also a lot of like things that, you know, for those who are getting in the industry, there are a lot of things that I wish I knew before I got in, and Tom and David will talk about those. But David, you got into acting in also like a crazy way. You didn't start off being an actor.
Yeah, no. I actually started off being a firefighter. And, you know, like I said, I was sick at a young age and I wanted to help people. So I became a firefighter. That was like the most direct way that I could imagine doing that. And had post-traumatic stress as a firefighter, had some pretty stressful things happen. And then that anxiety led me to go to a therapy that was kind of experimental called drama therapy, which actually was, a little bit of the reason or the part of the name for trauma therapy, which we all did together. But yeah, that drama therapy is where you reenact your traumas, and it's just like reenacting a little scene in a movie. And so the teacher or the therapist noticed that I kind of had a knack for it, and because you would have to participate in other people's therapies and moments. And so in doing that, I really, fell in love with embodying somebody else's circumstances and giving life to something and seeing how it could change somebody and how it could help somebody get over, a feeling that they're having. And there's a cathartic feeling when you express some emotions that, we bottle up deep down inside.
Yeah,
and so, so it's great to get those things out. And so for me, acting was therapy, and it blossomed into, a career where, I wanted to, again, like Courtney, I wanted to tell stories that maybe change people's perspectives on life. My most important message that I ever wanted to show is that people are more important than things, because at the end of your life, you're usually screaming for somebody's name or asking for somebody's name, and you're not asking for a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a jet. You know what I mean? It's always people at the end of your life that you're thinking about. And so that's the message that I want to, kind of infuse into all my stories, obviously with sugar coated, you know what I mean? With great laughs, like, Tom's movie Ask Me to Dance, you know what I mean? It's about two people trying to find their special someone. And, I think those messages go a really long way, because it doesn't matter our differences. At the end of the day, it's, our, fellowship, it's our friendship, it's our love for each other that really, is what we remember in life. So that's why I got into acting, really. I mean, that's kind of a roundabout way to say
That's a long answer, but let me say this, just to throw it into a little interesting topic that might be intriguing for the listeners, Charlie. It's an equation or question, ethical question that was in the movie Bullets Over Broadway, which is there's a burning building, and inside is the complete works of Shakespeare, the only copy, or a person. Now, this is just a random person. It's not your mom, dad, kids or anything like that. It's a random person. Which one do you save? And I made me think of this when David was talking about things versus people. Which one? It's a question for the group. Do you save the complete only works of Shakespeare, or do you save the person?
Wow.
What do you think, Courtney?
The person, for sure.
Why?
Because that's the only thing that matters.
Is the people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're taking it from, firefighter perspective, your order of operation is preserve life, and then preserve property comes second. So for me, it would be preserve life, and maybe hopefully we could take some pictures of that art on the way out.
So we had this crazy pandemic in 2020, and everyone was under lockdown and home, and dating became impossible, and having social interactions became impossible. And so we made a movie about the hardships of that, but the complete opposite. But it was almost like we should have made a movie about us making this movie, because we were almost like embodying what was actually going on in the world.
Well,
oh yeah, totally.
Everybody says that too, though. Yeah, let's make a movie about Megan. I don't know that that's inherently compelling in any way, shape, or form. But it's like maybe, and it's like, think about the best one. What's the one that was about apocalypse now? I forget the name of the film.
I love that movie,
Arcs of Darkness, and Hearts of Darkness is the most compelling, and still not that many people have seen that movie. So it does. I mean, look, we all go through life things. We've all been through a lot with COVID. So, I think ultimately people want stories on the screen. I think that's what makes Ask Me to Dance so exciting, is that we just heard this, all the press tour that we just did is that it's a throwback to like the 1940s and 50s, just like romance comedies, but really, really funny. So
it's a feel-good movie, and that's what people want. They want to feel good.
An escape, right? So if you did a movie about making a movie, it would almost be too real. None of those movies really do well, because people don't want to see that side. They want to see movies to get out of their lives. They don't want to see the problems go into it. So.
What's funny is I see the film in a completely different way, because Tom played with a lot of the things that he was actually going through, like the bad dates that he was going through. And, and he's a single dad, and he's dated. And I'm I'm one of his best friends, and so I'm witnessing all this. and, and in many ways, you know, he started actually getting really close to, you know, we started this before COVID, and then COVID hit, and it just kind of, I think it was like it was like a crystallizing moment where, you know, we actually decided to get it done because, you know, all we could think about it was the last thing that had momentum. And, you know, it was just perfect timing because, you know, we weren't talking about COVID like everybody else. You know, we weren't making a movie about COVID. We were making a movie, you know what I mean, about, you know, goofy love and and bad dates. It's just,
I'm really excited for everyone to go and see it this weekend. I'm really, really excited. It's a culmination of like super hard work between everyone in this area.
Yes, super, super excited.
Is there anything about the film world that you guys wish other people would know?
Well, no, go ahead. You want to go first, David?
Yeah. I mean, mainly these days, it seems like people are really gravitating towards, or filmmakers are gravitating on TV are making these movies that seem to be really exposition driven because people are looking at their phones while they're watching, you know, the film. And what they don't know is that the moments that you're missing on film cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars sometimes for a few seconds of screen time. And so every time you pick up your phone, you're really throwing away all that money that was put into production. And so if there's one thing I want people to know about film, it's that every moment of the screen was pined over and cared for by, you know, hundreds of people. And so, you know, just put your phones down because, you know, they'll be there when you come back. You know what I mean? Or pause if you have to look at your phone. You know what I mean? You have the ability to pause now. So pause the movie. You know, that's it.
It's true. You know, and to piggyback on what David said, I think that people have to understand that film is work, and there's so much passion that goes into it. Like a lot of people want to get into movies because they want to be famous. And I think if you get into movies and your desire is to be a great actor, there's something amazing in that. Versus if you just want to be famous, okay, you can be Kim Kardashian and have a sex tape that takes off, and you become famous for being famous. But ultimately, they just think it's all fun. And you guys have seen it. Those late nights, the freezing cold in Scotland, the on-set stress and all that stuff. And that's not easy. So people don't think it's work. They really just think it's all fun. But ultimately, if you go, I want to make a movie, and you go, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and work, that's the best attitude to have. And then you could put your passion in it as well.
Oh, it's blue collar for sure. It's a blue collar job.
Yeah, you told me that once, David.
Yeah.
And I literally was just going to say the same what you guys said. Literally, it is not easy. And you do have to have the passion, because if you don't have the passion, it's not going to work. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you really have to believe in the people that you're working with and believe that it can actually happen, or it just won't.
And you have to love the process. You know what I mean? Like even if you want to be an actor, like you have to really enjoy rehearsal. You know what I mean? Working on your lines, finding the character. You got to enjoy that stuff. You know what I mean? You can't just want to do it for the red carpet, because the red carpet is few and far between.
Everybody thinks like, how many times people think like, family members think you're just driving in a limousine, pouring champagne on your head all the time. It's like, no, it's actually, that does happen. Let's just say every once in a while, but it's, most of it is the slog and the grind. And you have to learn to love that part of it. But it is amazing to me that people think that anybody can do it. And man, it sounds fun when you're alone in the shower to be able to be in character. But when you got 50 people in a crew and lights and a microphone up your butt, and you're still going to be funny in the shower, that's a little tougher.
Yes. Yeah, and microphones go up butts. That's the other thing that people don't know about the film
I didn't
industry.
know that either. I have one in now. So
I was going to say definitely the discovery is what makes me want to be an actor, especially doing the line for the first time and the rehearsal. It's literally when you discover something that you thought it was going to be portrayed one way, and then it's completely different how it turns out on screen. It's just really magical to see.
Yeah, they say a film is told 3 times: in the script process, in the filming, and in the editing. And it all and the cool thing about what Tom did with this movie, Ask Me to Dance, is he was a screenwriter, and he's an amazing screenwriter. And his I mean, he's so tight with the film. There's not an ounce of fat. And then when he transferred over to directing, he knew exactly what he needed to make the script work. It's the most accurate adaptation from script to screen that I've ever seen. And then from screen to edit. I mean, if you watch that movie,
Perfect.
Not a whole lot is left off of that script.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. But that is exactly right. I wanted to go every director has their strengths. And I think what Courtney was saying about things changing, I think that would be a director who's much more visual, which many of them are. They want to do the mise en scène and the lighting and all that with a camera movement. And that was not me. I am a dialogue and moment-based director and writer. So to me, what I envisioned for this movie is exactly what I saw. Not, because to me, it wasn't about, I didn't actually visualize anything. I heard everything. And to hear the actors saying it, these great actors that are on here and the other ones that were in the film, all the fantastic actors, it really was an incredible feeling to see that come to life.
Well, it was really, really awesome to be part of it, Tom. We just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity and the chance to show everyone what we can do.
Fantastic. Well, great, guys. I do have to jump on to some more interviews because today has become press tour day. I think I've done 12 so far.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you all. And
David, if you have a minute to stay on, I wanted to ask you some more questions.
Yeah, I can stay on.
I just want one last thing. I want to shout out to one of the best executive producers I've ever worked with, Charlie Shrem. And I'll just say this.
Oh, stop.
For the people that listen to this for Bitcoin, they really should, because it's amazing how he started Ask Me to Dance with zero knowledge of the film business. And this guy's like making deals now. And this is only like a year and a half later. People are like going to him for advice on like, how do I export this movie? And so it's the learning curve was just through the roof. So
thank you. I had so much fun doing it with you guys. Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Okay, good luck.
All right. Bye, Tom.
Guys, hot off the press, we've just negotiated with our epic new sponsor, Bing X, over $155 in free new user rewards for each of you. Just check them out and click the link below, and I'll explain to you who these guys are and why they're offering such an amazing award to our Untold Stories listeners. Bing X is a really cool crypto social trading exchange. They offer the usual like futures, spot, derivatives, all the good stuff that you guys like to do, all the cryptos and all the different coins that you want to buy. But they also offer a really cool copy trading service, and then you can see all their traders over the past few years, how they've performed, and you can simply copy their trading. They have over 3 million users, regulatory licenses in Canada, USA, over in Europe, through Lithuania, Australia. They got one of the best ratings by CertiK. So you know they're legitimate, and they're going to be helping us out and offering you guys this amazing deal. Listen, if you click the link below, there's a new user reward and an extra on top special link bonus. You're going to get $155 in USDT. The link has everything in there, and they're even capping your losses up to $10 if you go in there and try to play around with the copy trading. BingX.com. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring us. I'm excited to send some more videos and update you guys on their platform. It really looks nice. It's comfortable to use. You feel safe and secure. You get $150, $155 for free. So why not? Go check it out. BingX. Thank you guys. Is Tom gone? Now we can talk the real stuff here.
Hi, David.
David, the listeners are probably very intrigued to hear more. Like, tell us the story, like going back from the beginning, as much as you want to talk about you getting sick and then becoming a firefighter, getting stuck in Philippines. Just, I don't know how much time we have.
I mean, that's a really long story. That's like basically my whole life story. But I mean, everything informs the next decision in your life, and everything informs the filter that you see the world through. And my filter could have been pretty bleak, pretty dark. My dad was, heavily involved with the Hells Angels, and so I grew up around that. My family, were blue collar, hardworking people. We don't come from money or anything like that. And so I got into a lot of trouble. I had a lot of freedom when I was a kid. I don't want to perjure myself, but I did some bad stuff. And then by the time I was 16, I had actually gotten sick with cancer. And so went through chemo, radiation, and really was taught a lesson, in humility and, the value of life and the mortality and finite amount of time we have here. And, I had all these dreams of doing all these different things. And then when I got sick, that changed everything, and my perspective changed. And, I saw things in a way that really highlighted, the importance of, friendship and family and life and love and all those things. And yeah, so that, like I said, is what led me to, getting into firefighting. And, after having post-traumatic stress and joining that drama therapy, I found a new passion, a place where I was able to fully express myself. I tell people all the time, if I were to express myself, express what I actually feel in real life, I'd be in jail, because, you know what I mean? Sometimes you want to scream at the top of your lungs when something doesn't work out, or you want to punch a wall, and you want to do all these things that's not okay with society. But as an actor, you can do all those things, to a degree, safely. And so when I was finally able to, find a safe space in which to express myself, that's when I fully, realized, the power of storytelling and the power of this craft. And from then I got into acting. I played a lot of firefighters in TV shows, and eventually I started making more money as an actor playing a firefighter than a real firefighter. And so it's sad. It's really sad how little we pay our workers that are,
That
on the
changes.
front lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So then I started working in as an actor, and then the writer strike happened, and the economy started to tank around 2007, 2008. And, all of a sudden they weren't making, scripted TV. They were doing, reality TV. And so a couple of my friends, peeled off, and we started writing our own pilots and our own movies. And, I found a knack for storytelling, which is what I wanted to do in the first place. And that led me to, create another filter, in my lens of this industry and how we could tell stories. And I grew to love the process, like we talked about, being on set, being collaborative with people,
Yeah.
Solving problems together. Like me and you, we solved a bunch of problems together on set. You know what I mean?
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
We
That's
don't
some of the
have
best
enough
part.
of this. We don't have enough of this. We got to go get it. Oh, this person's, sick. We gotta fix that problem. You know what I mean? It's just nonstop puzzle solving. And so, that the love of that was really great. Tom brought me in. I was at the time working for an animation studio, as a writer. And gosh, just me saying I'm a writer, like my English teacher would roll over in her grave if she's dead. We don't stay in touch. But I failed English twice, and that's the only language I speak. So it's kind of sad.
Here you are, like analyzing scripts on a day-to-day basis for your job. Like you're the person, when someone has a script now, we say, show it to David first. If it gets through you, then we all look at it.
That's pretty much it. And so, I if I could show my English teacher what I'm doing now, she would just like be so surprised. But I was working at an animation studio, and Tom invited me to the American film market to help him out. And I volunteered to help him out, just kind of as an assistant, if you will. And somebody dropped out, and so I came in. And I was supposed to speak with the filmmakers while he was speaking with buyers, because he had started this distribution company as a way to, give filmmakers a transparent way of distributing film, and for filmmakers to understand how it all works, because we had all been through, a bunch of horror stories when it comes to distribution as filmmakers ourselves. And so in doing that, so he invited me, and I realized pretty quickly I was originally supposed to just, keep the filmmakers busy while he was talking to buyers. But after a couple conversations, I realized I know all the right questions to ask these filmmakers to see if their films are worth a damn. So I, started asking the right questions, and, kind of cultivating, who was going to, get through to the next level to talk to Tom. And by the end of the day, Tom offered me a job in acquisitions for distribution. And then I think maybe 3 months in, I had found a couple films, and we had signed them, and Tom offered me the position of head of acquisitions for Glasshouse Distribution, which then gave me another perspective, another lens in which to see this industry through, which was the market side. You know what I mean? And so
the business side.
The business side. And so that started developing this other filter in my lens, where I was able to look at film and kind of mitigate some of the shortcomings or some of the things you can't expect when it comes to financing a film. You know what I mean? We can mitigate some of those things by making sure that our personal stories that we're telling are framed within a genre that is selling in the market. And so you don't have to compromise your story if you can properly place your story within the foundation of a genre that is selling. And so that's another filter that I'm using now today in order to develop my own projects and to help develop other people's projects. That's maybe the longest story. I mean, I can't go into the Philippines. That was a really unless you have 2 hours.
And not to mention, David, you're an amazing coach too. When we were on set of Ask Me to Dance, you really, I don't know, you just have a certain way of having people just let it go.
Yeah, I remember like you were coaching some people, and you're like everything that you learned, forget it.
Yeah, just let it go.
It's funny because I think there's different. Each actor has a different way that you need to work with them. And because I didn't go to like a conservatory when I was younger. As an actor, I was real jealous of everybody that came out of these like really prestigious schools, and so I just tried to fix that by going to every single school of thought on acting and really study hard. And at one point I was in three different schools of acting where they all had different methods. And so I was learning that vocabulary of these different methods, and I understood what it was. And I just kind of took a little from each one to add to what I already had
That's
naturally.
literally what I did. I didn't go to a conservatory either, David. And I literally was like, I didn't go to Esper. I didn't go to any of these schools, even though I wanted to, because I just couldn't afford it at the time. But I literally did exactly what you did. Just took class after class, casting director after casting director, and just literally studied every method that I could, get my hands on. And now I just tone into any of those when needed.
I was just say, yeah, you develop your bag of tricks.
Yeah.
And I think my bag being added to from so many different, schools of thought really helps me communicate with actors a lot better, because I could ask them where they studied. And I know that if they studied at like Milton Katselas, they talk a lot about, what's the evaluation on this scene, how highly evaluated is it? And they'll give you like a 1 to 10, and you could adjust them based on a number. And that's a shorthand, you know what I mean, that I have with the person that went to that school. Or if somebody's having trouble getting someplace, you know what I mean, I could ask them if they need some time to walk away and find a place to, to really dig into the sense memory, or if they need a behavior that will bring them back to that emotion that they need. And so knowing all those different little tricks from all these different, acting schools, I really learned how to have a conversation with somebody, find out where they went to school for, and be able to have a shorthand with them, which is great. But the other thing is, being an actor myself, when I see somebody doing something that is hurting their performance, or that is maybe creating a barrier between them and the character, I put it on me, because I've been there, because I've done it, and because we're all guilty of doing it. Because when you're in the moment, you don't see yourself. There's no mirror there. So you need somebody to see you, because you're in it. You know what I mean? You're only seeing the perspective and you're only living the situation that the actor, or that the actor is portraying of the character. The character's in these circumstances, and we're in it. And so we don't see everything. We don't see all the other elements that might add to this palette, the color palette, to paint with. And so you need somebody from the outside. That's what the director's for. And that's what a coach is for, is to see those things for you. Because we all need it. You know what I mean? If somebody says they don't need a coach, or they don't need, class, or they don't need a director, and they just want to be by themselves on an island acting, good luck, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah. But no, Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't do that. He requires a lot of stuff for him to be, effective.
We're talking to David Lawrence and Courtney Warner, who are starring in the newest theatrical released movie, Ask Me to Dance. You guys can go to theaters nationwide right now and go watch the film. Go to askmetodancemovie.com to see the trailer and to see the local showtimes, or go to Fandango, and then it'll be available on demand. But it's so much better to see a movie in theaters. The laugh out loud comedy. I don't know the last time that you guys saw a funny movie, nonetheless, in theaters. But Courtney and David, I feel like artists over the years have kind of shunned the business side of things. It almost was seen as like the more pure you are, it's the less you know about business if you're an artist. Am I wrong? Was that real? Why is it so important to like know the business side of the industry that you're doing?
I think you'll be
Courtney?
lost if you don't know the business side, to be honest. I think that was my downfall is, that I have the talent side, but as far as business, you have so much more you have to learn as far as to be able to get further in what your goals are. David, you could probably pick up this more than I could because you know more of the business side than I do.
well, yeah. So, I mean, I had a conversation with a friend of mine in an acting class the other day, and I'm still in acting class. I mean, I'm coaching, but I'm learning every day. And I'm in an acting class the other day, and a friend of mine says, how do you stay so busy? You know what I mean? Like what don't you do? And I said, I don't do a lot of sleep. That's what I mostly don't do. But the real answer is, to understand. So when you're acting, when you're just an actor, you're not in a in a position of power, right? You're waiting to be picked, and the only thing you have control over is your ability to perform, your ability to be good on the moment when they choose you. And so if the lottery ticket, if you're buying a lottery ticket, right, and that ticket is if you win, you win. That means you get an audition, right? You buy a lottery ticket. That's you going to acting class. That's you studying. That's you putting yourself on tape. That's you self-submitting. That's you being in class. That's you buying the lottery ticket.
Yep.
If you get an audition, you just won like $20,
Yeah.
right? You want a decent little pot, right? So you get the opportunity, right? And every time you go in and you audition, that's it. It's a lottery. It's a number. Now, if you understand the business, you can start to manipulate, the world around you, terraform, if you will, your landscape as an actor, because you start to create relationships with people and you start to develop ideas with people. And like I said, each part of the filmmaking process informs the next. So when I started writing as an actor, I got better at analyzing scripts because I was writing. So now as an actor, I see where I fit in. I see where I could add something to the character that the writer didn't see. I see all these things because now I'm a writer, right? And you don't have to be the best writer, but if you're reading lots of scripts, you're going to become a better writer. And if you're writing, you're going to become a better actor. Now, add something on top of that. You volunteer as a PA, as a production assistant, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're learning the lingo in the film industry, right? Now you can have a conversation with somebody who's higher up and they think to themselves, wow, this guy knows a good amount about filmmaking. I could trust him. He's one of us. He's not just some starry-eyed actor who wants fame. He understands the process and he understands where he stands in that process.
Right.
So now you're developing this ability to be a person that could be counted on by, better filmmakers. And then they'll bring you into their crew and teach you more about the craft. And another thing that I always say is part of knowing the business is asking questions and not doing this whole, and this goes back to what you were saying, Charlie, how there used to be this stigma of, I'm just an artist. I don't do the business thing, right? Which is a little bit, it's arrogance, right? It's arrogance. And it's also ignorance because you're assuming that you're an exception to the rule and not the rule. Well, if you play by the rules, believe you're the exception. It's like some religious people say, God helps those who help themselves, right? You have to help yourself as an actor and create these other places of knowledge where other actors don't have that knowledge, so that then you can actually push yourself into another position of power. So the other thing is that whole fake it till you make it thing, right? That used to work before the internet, right? You can't fake it till you make it now. People could look you up. You know what I mean? So I always say, ask questions. You know what I mean? Ask questions because you're going to get as you get brought up to higher places in the industry, ask questions and don't pretend that you know everything, because number one, you're going to make a fool of yourself. And number two, that fake it till you make it doesn't work. So you have to ask questions. And the more questions you ask, the more knowledgeable you'll become. And then you'll be able to answer questions with confidence. And so now, once you just start developing all those things, like you're working as a PA, you've learned the lingo, you understand the position of an actor, what they need to do, how important, being on set on time is, and getting your lines right. They're losing the light and they've spent all day setting up the lighting for you. And you're an actor, you need to walk in, know your line, do your thing, get out so that everybody can go home. And it's like, that only comes from wanting to know the business, right? If you're just an actor and you're just focusing on your craft, like go to theater, you know what I mean? Do theater. Because if you want to be an actor in film, you're playing with a lot of other players. You know what I mean? It's a big machine. It's an army. It's a family. It's a business, all at the same time. And it's also a recreation of the world that we live in right now. Every job that exists in the world exists on a film set. There's accountants. There's construction workers.
They're like many worlds, many economies.
100%. Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. Court, is there anything you want to add?
Just creating your opportunities. I think you learn more as opposed to just going in as a quote unquote actor. I think, like being on the production side of it, just from seeing it from an idea to a script to the script actually being greenlit. I mean, people don't realize how many scripts aren't greenlit. And this is why we were very blessed that even Ask Me to Dance even had that opportunity to be greenlit and sold. And now, we're able to show the world in theaters.
Go see it in theaters.
Just go see it in theaters, October 7th.
You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy watching David and Courtney, and you're going to enjoy watching Tom, and you guys are going to laugh, and it's so funny. And then once you finish, you guys are going to love that we have another movie that's a horror movie that David co-wrote with Tom, and Courtney starred in it as well, and David starred in it, and Tom. Everyone, it's like you get this whole great next story. It's going to be awesome. I'll talk to you guys again next week.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Bye.